competitors. And then the bottom chart is the job trends in Indeed.com. Lastly, they also, with the rebranding of 10gen to MongoDB, the education side, are any of you guys using the free education courses that 10gen run?
Yeah.
They recently started a Node.js as well, Node.js course. That whole thing is now called MongoDB University. So presentations this evening, we have Mongoid exploration from Nguyen. That was the
Nguyen.
And GeoJSON from Tim Chandler. Tim Chandler's the one in blue, not the one breathing fire. Just in case. Anyone here not using MongoDB yet, or have come here for the first time to learn a little bit about MongoDB? Yes? Okay?
Refresher.
In that case, I will give you a couple of slides on why I use MongoDB. They're basically just pictures, except for the first slide. But I think the four biggest names, the three most impressive, are MTV, Foursquare, and Disney. MTV currently use MongoDB to power 13,000 of their websites with proprietary CMS system, and Disney have over 40,000 servers running with MongoDB on them. It's Foursquare, probably the most popular. And it was Foursquare that kind of got me into MongoDB to start with. One of the projects I was doing was a geolocation project, trying to do proximity queries. And we were running into problems with MySQL at huge sizes. So we spent a weekend investigating NoSQL solutions. For me, MongoDB was at the top of the list simply because they had the best geolocation support. And when we first did our benchmarks that weekend, we discovered that MongoDB was like 6,000 times. 6,000 times faster than MySQL for performing some of the geolocation stuff. So one of the other nifty features that I really like about MongoDB is something called GridFS. It's basically a blob, but it allows you to store and serve media files directly from the database, which obviously prevents a lot of bottlenecking.
I think I have to
if you
move
have
back
your
there.
load balancing set up and
Can't
your
see.
replication set up and all that, then that also means that all your media files are going to be replicated in load balance. So basically the same as S3, but if you want to host your own files, GridFS is definitely one of the ways to go about that. And I find there's no language barriers. But by that I mean, I think that they're now supporting up to like 24 different languages or so. The 10gen team, the MongoDB team, and there's a bunch of other community drivers. So basically every language that's popular today, or every operating system that's popular today, pretty much supports MongoDB. But where does it stand in the grander scheme of things? I mean, there's a lot of databases out there at the moment. So I think traditional relational databases, they tend to have a lot of functionality, and if they're contained within a single server, they're a good choice. It's just they don't scale so well. Whereas some of the more key value stores and memcache, these kind of things, I mean, they have great performance, but they don't offer so much functionality. I guess the reason I like MongoDB so much is it's kind of a sweet spot for me. It's not quite as fast as memcache and key value stores, but it has a host of other functions that are really useful. And then I always like to finish on this. For me, this is one of the most important things. I mean, I came into MongoDB as a designer. I'm definitely not a very technical person. But one of the things I liked about MongoDB was, there is no spoon. By that I mean, in the old days when I was dealing with MySQL and WordPress and all this kind of things, you always had to go in and set things up first. You had to create a database which defined the tables in the database, what each of the fields in there was it a number, is it a text? You're going in and out of your sort of database administration back to your program. And the reason I fell in love with MongoDB and haven't gone back is because once you're in, you're just building applications, so there's no schemas. If your application is defined to save some data into a database that doesn't exist, the database will get created the first time you try and save that information. So there really isn't a lot of skipping back. I'm just developing applications now, and the sort of database builds up around me. So I guess those are my reasons for using MongoDB. The presenters here tonight are all using MongoDB in production. It's been quite a while since we had our last meetup, and one of the reasons is because I haven't got much new exciting stuff to tell you about. For me, it just works. I haven't had a problem with my Mongo installations for a good 18 months. I haven't had a need to update them. I'm using them on every project I use. and it just works. The problem with that is I haven't got much exciting stuff to tell you guys. So trying really hard to get presenters to come in. I want presenters that are actually using this stuff in production so that you can get as much out of them as you can. When they finish their presentations, please really try and make a point of asking any questions you have, or get together with us after the presentations. I mean, the primary reason for us being here is to answer questions. So with that, I'll pass you on to the first presentation of the evening.
Good evening, everyone. So my name is Nguyen. So I work at Save.com. We try to build like a social news network based on the model of crowdsourcing and user-created content. And we run on MongoDB. So today I'd like to talk about Mongo and how you can use it in your Ruby and Rails project. So what is Mongo? Mongo is object document mapper for MongoDB. So it translates MongoDB collections and document into class and objects so that you can manipulate this data in a clean and object-oriented manner. It's written in Ruby. And although you have a lot of useful integration with Rails, you can actually use this in a lot of other Ruby projects and frameworks like Sinatra and Arduino. So what Mongo? Actually in Ruby we have a lot of mapper options, and the following reason we think is why Mongo is a good choice. It has a very good documentation on its official website. It's very similar to Active Record. So if you're using Rails and you've been using Active Record, it's very easy to transition into using Mongo. A lot of the query and a lot of the API very similar to Active Record. And it's very much being developed for the past 3 years. So right now the latest version is version 3. And version 4 is coming out in a few months, I think. And it's also compatible with a lot of other Ruby gems like Caraway and Device. And you also have a very good ecosystem that for those gems that do not support Mongo out of the box, there are usually some plugin that enable the Mongo support for that gem. And it's quite interesting. It includes its own version of Ruby driver. So MongoDB has an official Ruby driver that Mongo used to work on top of. And the author of Mongo, while working with that driver, they went through a lot of problems, and when they proposed the change to the official Ruby driver, it sort of got rejected, and they went off and created their own driver called Moped. It's supposed to be faster and cleaner than the official Ruby driver. So the basic of Mongo is a Mongo document, and so this is the simplest Mongo document you can have. So it's just a normal Ruby class, and you include the document classes so that this class will have all of the Mongo features. And then you can define the field for your document in the following way. So it's field followed by your field name, and you can specify a type for your field. You can also specify a default value for your field, which could be a string, or it could be a method code that will be evaluated when this document is created. So for example, during this person class, so I'm gonna create an instance of this class.
Yeah, try and make it a little bigger.
man plus.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Good. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, good.
Okay. Okay, so this is to create a new instance of this document. So it's giving a object ID. As you can see here, this is your normal Mongo object ID. And you also have a default value for your location and your date of birth. So this is how you create an instance for the document. So aside from string, we support a lot of other type. So you can use pretty much any of this type. It's auto serialized into before it's stored to MongoDB and be serialized when you have that value back. Persistent. So just like any other, if you use Active Record, it supports the same set of persistent operations like create or create a throw exception. So let's now just try to create a person. So I can go to create and I can specify the value of my fields. And I can check if it's actually inserted. Okay, this did not get inserted. Try to create the sections. Okay, did not throw any errors. Nothing. This is what happened when you code live. Okay, let's just assume that it worked. Okay, so other than create, you can have save, delete and destroy. Different between destroy and delete. Destroy will call your model callback, and delete does not. Another interesting operation you can do is upsert. What it does is if you find if there's a existing document with the same attribute, it will update a document. Otherwise, it will insert a new document. So one differentiating factor between Mongo and other ODM mapper is that most of the persistent operation are atomic updates. What it means is that Mongo you only try to update values that change instead of setting the whole document to the MongoDB. So imagine if you have a very large document, this is a huge performance benefits. So only change values are updated to the MongoDB database. Querying. So querying also very similar to Active Record, and it gives a class called criteria to as a wrapper for Mongo queries. The cool thing about criteria is chainable and basic evaluated. What it means is that it's only touch the database when necessary. For example, when you want to item over the results, for example, if I run a query on person and I specify my condition, so what we return is a clear object. At this point in time, Mongo did not run the query on the database yet. So you can save this criteria instance and you can continue change another condition. And then you decide to iterate over this resource set. Only then the query is executed. So if my insert was successful just now, you will see some result here. So it's useful in scenario where you construct your query conditionally based on certain condition, and you can just accommodate all of your query and then you run it one time. So it supports the typical active record like query where find assist will return true or false based on the existence of document. I can count the document. Next, I'd like to talk about relations. So Mongo supports the syntax for defining association between documents in your database. It supports embedded association, and it also supports reference. So the difference with reference is that instead of embedding into the same document, it uses a foreign key to specify the relationship. So let's say I have a class called band, and then I have a class called album, which is embedded into band. So this is how you can specify the relationship. So in band, you specify embed many albums, and album you have embedded in band. And given this class, what you can do is you can say I have a band, and then I can embed in my albums. When you save it, it will save the document and embed the album into band. So I'd like to give an example for the reference relationship also. So let's say I have a reference to tours. Okay, so instead of embed many, I put case many. And then in my tour, I have a belong band. So I add my tour in similar fashion. So now I have an array of tours that band has. So notice the difference with the embedded relationship, where here tool has a foreign key that specifies its relationship with this particular band. So that's how you work with for Rails integration. So starting with Rails 3 is very easy to just start up a Rails project without active record or MySQL. You can just specify the option skip active record, and it will generate a new Rails app without including any active record library. And then specify your Mongo file. So after that, we have the same sort of generator, similar to active record. Before I need to generate your config, and then you can have your generator. So when you run this generator, it will give you the document. So it's a convenient way to generate your models, and you don't need to run the integration. Replication. This is one of my favorite features of Mongo. It support replica set out of the box. So let's say I have a replica set up here. So I have a primary running on port 27017, which is a primary. I have another one running on 27018, which is secondary, and a return. And then in my Mongo config, I specify that I have two MongoDB instance. So when Mongo run the query such as this one, it will run the query on the master. And let's say your master went down. Okay, so I'm going to kill this master, the binary, which is the binary also. So my previous binary is not reachable. In a few seconds, the aperture will promote the secondary into primary. And then if I go back to run the same query again, it still works. So what behind the scene is Mongo, when it receives a connection error on the current master, it will try to query what is the current binary and run the same query against the new binary. So for your application level, you don't have to deal with it, and it's just auto failover. And this is the only Ruby driver that I can see have this feature built in. And it supports a lot of features that I didn't go through, but you can refer to the documentation. So it supports validation, just like active record, data tracking, see with attribute change. You also support dynamic fields. So this scenario where you have a field that you don't specify your field definition, just want to set it under a certain condition. You can also do that. Inheritance, it works the same way with active record. You can also find name scopes. You also have the same callbacks as in active record, like after create, after save. Similarly, you can find more information on Mongo in the following websites. Any questions? Okay. I think that's
No questions from anyone? Jim, you are?
Oh no.
You ready? problems. Currently his laptop broke yesterday.
Sorry, just give me a moment. I have to do a Mongo recovery.
Yeah, do it, please. Might be warming up. No. No.
Hello? Ah. So I have a Ruby question.
Yes.
So I saw in the beginning there, when you used Mongo, for the create you use dots and creates, and for was it like find and some other, you had the hash mark before. What's the difference in Ruby?
What's the
So
difference?
the difference between the dot operator and the hash mark.
The hash mark is a class method, so you call it on the person with capital P.
Okay, yeah.
And the dot is an instant, so you need a instant of document to call that method. Like when you have a particular person, you can set the attribute of that person with dot save, as opposed to where is the class. So you call on top of the person class.
Yeah.
So that you return you instances of
Okay,
that
cool.
person.
Okay. Thanks.
Other questions on anything Mongo or what we're doing here tonight? How's it coming up there?
We need a VGA adapter.
VGA adapter. Does anybody have a VGA adapter? That could be a problem. Maybe.
You're doing the Node.js course? I signed up for it, so yeah. I was determined.
because I tried to do the Python one previously. Yeah. And I saw the logo and I got really excited. I really want to do this. I signed up. They sent me like 3 emails, it always seems really bad timing. So I get an email reminding me like the homework to do. It always happens to be like a time where I just haven't got time. Well, yeah, maybe. I mean, the day I signed up, I was like, I had lots of time that particular day, and it was like, great, okay, Node.js, I'm going to do that. Definitely signed that up. I was like, well, it's not ready yet, we'll send you the talk, and then every time they send me something, it's always at that time.
I think the previous one was
Python.
Yeah. I'm doing the same performance ones again. I guess I'm doing the same way.
I guess, yeah.
Interesting part would be the Mongoose.
Okay, yeah, Mongoose is supposed to be the best. I mean, it's got voted the best driver, best wrapper, or whatever you want to call it. It's kind of a bit of both. Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
but they got that is because I need terms something. Or just based on MongoDB and then they.
You're a Node developer already, aren't you? You're not comfortable with Node.
Yeah.
Node and
I use Mongoose as well.
Right, okay, you use
I was hoping to see learn.
Yeah. Okay.
Just the last part of like that.
I reckon they might do Go. I can imagine Go could be next, I think.
Again, Mongo. I did this for Fine Recycler, so crazy.
Okay, let's get started. Thanks, guys. Now, we probably won't be getting any live demos due to the fact that we don't have the right adapters here. But we'll go through the main presentation anyway, and we might do a part 2. My boss is on his way. If he has an adapter, then we'll go through the demos. Either way, I'll be posting them online. Now, I must apologize at first. My story is that I had a really nice bulky laptop which I did all my presentation work on. I actually presented this last week in Sydney at SydPHP. It went very well, my demos went very well, but a power surge nuked my entire laptop, hard disk included. So, demo code was gone. Presentation is still online, as you can see. But I've spent the better half of today rewriting all the demos from scratch, and they work, and I'd love to show them to you, but we'll see how we go. So, I guess a bit about me. I'm the director of GeoMatch, so essentially what we do is we do maps. We do everything geospatial. We have a product called GeoMatch. It essentially allows you to push data in and display in various different ways on a map, as well as some more advanced things such as asset tracking, aggregation information based on field data from people working in a field, sending back information about what's been harvested and what hasn't, etc. Lots of different applications that we actually use with it. So this connection is not good. There we go. Don't touch the laptop. I have 14 years of full stack software engineering experience. So I started quite young. I still think I'm quite young, but different. 8 of those have been in the commercial industry. And early on in those, I did get Zen certified, but I haven't updated it for a little while. So this might be something I'll do in the future, but I am 5.3 certified. That last point has actually changed. I did pass the certification. That was this week. I don't know if anyone else did that, but it was a very good course, and I encourage everybody to do it, because you certainly do learn a lot about the administrative side of MongoDB.
It's a free course, right?
It's very free. except it does take quite a bit of your time towards the end, so you got to set something aside for it. Alright, it teaches you all about the clustering and the sharding and all the little bits and pieces that you never thought you'd need to touch. Yeah, you should definitely check it out to get a better feel and understanding of what you're doing. So let's get on with the main presentation. Alright, so geospatial support in MongoDB. Alright, so this is pretty much the overview. So we're going to talk about what the latest version of Mongo gives us. I'm talking about the latest stable, not the developer release that they released a few weeks ago. There's a new index. Talk about GeoJSON and the geospatial functions which we use with GeoJSON. Hopefully, I'll be able to show you a demo, but at this stage I can't guarantee it. So, as many of you probably already know, Mongo 2.4 was a pretty big release. It gave us a lot of really nice features. For me, the improved performance, security, and administrative tools have been the best, in addition to obviously the true geospatial support. And when I say true, my presentation will pretty much tell you why there's a distinction between true and false geospatial support. Alright, so the new index is 2D sphere. Alright, so essentially it allows you to correctly interpret longitude and latitude coordinates. And as we see on this point table here, it's basically allowing us to calculate these on a spherical coordinate system. So before with the 2D index, while you could do geospatial queries, you couldn't get absolute precision on your map. So if you're doing it based on a Google map or Bing map, whatever, doesn't matter, and you say, this is my address, this is my map long, chances are, if you do a calculation based on that, you're not going to get it 100% accurate. Now, there is a bit of a caveat here. The 2D sphere obviously can only cover so much. It does take into consideration the curvature of the Earth. However, it obviously can't take into consideration mountains and pits and things like that that distort the surface. So while it's accurate, it is more accurate, it's not perfect, and to get an absolute perfect system will be probably a very long way away. You need sort of real-time data and things like that as well. Alright, so with the old 2D index, it was still pretty useful. You could index things based on a 2D plane. Hello, do you have an adapter? Do you have an adapter? No demos. Sorry. We'll see what we can come up with at the end. Points for whoever comes up with an idea. Okay, so I've seen quite a few developers use the 2D index to build computer games because the point and the polygon calculations on that are quite useful for that. And you don't need the spherical coordinate system to do those calculations, unless of course you are simulating movement on a planet or something in a game. Right? So before you could only index based on a single point, or a group of points, and that's a big difference between 2D and 2D sphere, because now we can properly index and query on polygons, and the calculations are a lot faster. Additionally, we have line string support and proper GeoJSON point support, which is a bit different to the 2D point support. We'll get into that a bit soon. So how do we use it? It's very simple. You just apply a 2D sphere index to your geometry block. Now, that can be pretty much anything. However, what I tend to do is I stick all of my GeoJSON base in a GeoJSON object in the main record. So what you end up having in the geometry block there is geojson.geometry 2D sphere, and then Mongo will pick that up and index based on the 2D sphere. Excuse me a moment. GeoJSON. Who here is familiar with GeoJSON? Yeah, you use it in development at the moment, or just know of the specification?
Not really using it.
Okay. Well, it's it is a GeoJSON standard, much like the GRSS as well. The difference is it's JSON based. So essentially, those who are familiar with JSON can pick this up straight away. It's a very consistent model, allowing for a lot of nesting of different objects in different ways, and it's very consistent and clean, in my opinion. So at the moment, Mongo supports points, line strings, and polygons. And if we jump over to this table, we can see a bit of a difference in what it does and does not support, because the GeoJSON spec is a lot bigger than what MongoDB actually supports. So like I said, point, line string, polygon, those are supported. However, there are multis of each of those. So that's essentially creating a group of, say, points, which is considered as one GeoJSON feature. All right. One really disappointing thing, in my opinion, and I really hope they're bringing this in the next version, is the multi-polygon support isn't there. So, for example, where our multi-polygon comes in handy is we record a lot of ping data from workers, and essentially we calculate those ping datas and we turn them into circles, or actually we turn them into hexagons now. And then we merge them all together into one polygon. But because there are spaces between each of those pings, what you actually get back is a multi-polygon. So it's a polygon consisting of many polygons and holes within those polygons. So it's quite complex. And unfortunately, MongoDB won't support that. Now, there's a bit of a trick that I've figured out with this, but it does come at a cost. You can store these, which I do. However, you cannot apply the 2D speed index to it. It will reject it. So you do get a performance loss there. So if you are going to be storing a mix of polygons and multi-polygons, the best thing to do is to put them in different collections and have some sort of way of tracking where each of your polygons are. So then you can get the benefit of the index on your standard polygons and just lose a bit of performance on your multi-polygons until Tangent come in, well, they're not Tangent anymore, sorry. Until Mongo come around and give us support for multi-polygons. So you see there are also stated that it supports features, feature collection, and geometry collection. These are just wrappers. So if I get a chance to demonstrate some of the GeoJSON, you'll see that they essentially wrap all of those supported types above. So for example, a feature is a point, it's a line string, it's a polygon. A feature collection is basically many features inside an object. So that then leaves the geometry collection, which is very similar, but it's on a geometry level, so you might have many points inside a geometry collection, which is inside of a feature. Like I said, you can do a lot of nesting. I really recommend you check out the specification. It's very clear. It's only a couple lines, a couple pages long, and you'll learn a lot from that. All right, so there's a few new geospatial functions, and they don't necessarily replace the old ones. You can still use them, but these are the only ones that are compatible with GeoJSON. So the geo within essentially says, find me the point, or all the points within this polygon, and it will return all those points as a result set, a cursor in Mongo. Geo intersects. Okay, so say you have a polygon on screen, and then you want to know whether or not, say, a route from a truck who's been driving intersects with this polygon. Maybe it's a no drive zone. So you want to know if this object is intersecting with this other object. And you can do that with that. It pretty much says, if it crosses the polygon line, also outside the polygon line at the same time, it intersects. Near is very useful. So obviously everyone's used, I assume everyone's used Facebook. You've got you've got the check-in feature, right? Not just the check-in feature. You've got like the events list, and you can actually ask Facebook to tell you where are all the events near me, or where am I, what is nearby. So based on a latitude and longitude, it can return a set of results from the database which is near that point. That's really useful. So the results could be anything, and you can make your queries as complex as you like, so you can have various different types of points of interest. And you can also specify the radius in which it returns. And it's not mentioned there, but with near, it has a pseudo function which says max distance, which goes within the query, and it will limit it based on that. If you don't use near, I think it has a default, I can't remember what it is, but you get a lot of results back anyway, and you don't want that. And now we're in trouble.
That would be a good idea.
Not that many people, right?
They just crowd around the
It's been a disaster of an
personalized demo.
If you've got a thumb drive, you can put the presentation on my laptop. This is the demo drive. Upload my. Where is it?
I have an idea. Okay, we can team viewer into my laptop. Team viewer.
That's a good idea.
So we can screen share my laptop via Skype even to this one. Yeah?
VNC.
Alright, 2 dots there.
VNC. Skype has a lag in it. Sometimes we do like client meetings with Skype. There's a lag. It's very slow.
But I think it's a few options.
You should use Google Hangout. Google Hangout there's no lag. One person watching, I think is my boss. Live. Are you a member of this site? This one?
I think I didn't see this before.
You better.
Oh, also about the recycling thing.
Oh yeah, it is. In fact, they're not quite my competitor, but they're trying to get there.
Malaysia best company?
No. Malaysia Environmental society for youth.
Feel.
And dots. It's also more or less the same.
KL is a.
Here there's a lot here. Set them. That's
Actually,
really
in my condo there also that my condo there also have a place for doing the recycle things.
Why don't you help add it into the site?
Yeah, also okay.
Or you give me the pictures. I think right now.
Yeah, I can. I can
adding
snap and send you.
I might have to leave soon already. Because the adding the interface is a bit hard to use. I got all this so many views.
Yeah, solo.
I want to reduce it. I want to make it a little bit nicer. I have an idea because I'm doing other projects already, so
you can plan to this one. You can plan your.
Yeah. I can actually override one of the templates, make it a little bit nicer, put the form fields nicely. Because one of our projects we're doing, we actually override. Yeah, we did that. Like this guy, this one. This one is actually override the WordPress template. It's actually I copy and paste the theme for this part, and then this one is custom. This one is widget. This one is custom. This one is a widget. This one is custom. So
didn't look like WordPress.
Yeah, the idea is to make it not really look like WordPress, but behind there's actually WordPress. But you can see this is one of the sites that we did. Very nice. I actually bought the theme, but the logo here got flickering effect. So we use a layer slider.
This one is doing the selling
the concert ticket.
Oh, concert.
You know this corner, right? Very famous.
Can you scroll down?
Very famous. You know this effect, right? Parallax.
Yeah, a bit.
There you see, like TechCrunch. You know TechCrunch, you actually see.
Because the effect recently I also using this effect to do for my site.
Your own
site client. Site client.
And there you see.
Quite a bit different. That one because I'm using the test PT to resize presentation. This one is
just an arbitrary resizer. Need to install TeamViewer like this. Yes, I have to leave soon already. And the FAQ page like this is all like shortcodes or WordPress shortcodes. You can browse it on the mobile and see whether it works.
Sorry?
This one is mobile compatible.
Okay. But my line is very slow.
Use your Wi-Fi
You know the password? You know the password?
Yeah, I love Mindvalley. The username is guest.
Oh, guess so.
No, you just log on to the Wi-Fi first. Then you open the website. Then it tell you to log in. Then let me try and add my entry.
Who brought me the adapter a minute ago?
What?
Say you mean
The Mac adapter.
Yeah, yes. I love Mindvalley. I love Mindvalley is one word. I put already in business.
the second option is one because only three options. Only the first one is more nearest to your
Already attended so many of these bootcamp workshops. I registered for the afternoon because I may not have time in the morning.
Yeah, then maybe you give a pitch, then you ask fun as well. Because last time I also heard very young people, he wanted to do a software about manage the role of the script. So everyone can for the slash event. So if everyone who want to play the role, they can easily get the information about it.
Yeah. CentOS. People Ubuntu and CentOS and Linux. Which Linux do you like? Ubuntu or CentOS? CentOS is just Red Hat.
Never used before. Never use
Ubuntu. If this takes longer than time to go. Running out of time already.
Yeah, for the
while we're getting this set up, Q&A. Alright, so who has any questions so far? Yeah, okay.
Not yet. I will install Mongo first. Install it on this server since no one
Any GeoJSON questions?
uses this server.
Geo-specific questions for these guys? This is their business, this is what they do on a day-to-day basis.
Oh, Betanomics.
I don't know what that is.
Okay. One question. So there is another form called TopoJSON. Is there any way you can work with that as well?
So what's it called?
So there's another similar form to GeoJSON called Topo, like topological JSON. I'm not if you're.
No, I'm not actually familiar with that. One thing to keep in mind is the GeoJSON specification was written by developers for developers. So the meaning behind it isn't one of those, official www community members. So yeah, you can contribute back to it as well. But they haven't changed it since 2008. But no, I haven't heard of the other one. Is it also by developers or?
That I'm not familiar with.
Okay.
Are there any free Mongos to try? Are good.
What? Geo? MongoDB?
Mongo, yeah.
The education side, great side.
Yeah, but the hosting of Mongo.
Oh. Of course it's not MongoDB. Free.
No, of course, just free stick.
Mongo Lab and Mongo HQ have...
I think they give very limited space.
Oh, of course, yeah, it's free.
The best is to install your own. It's good that I have one dedicated server that no one uses anymore, so I'm just going to use it. But come back to Mongo after so many months. Oh great, they haven't changed their site a lot. Not yet.
But did they also change the MongoDB.com? It's changed quite a bit.
MongoDB.com, I never went to the .com. I never went to this one before. I always go to the .org.
Quite neat.
The one that changed a lot is JS.
Yeah, I haven't seen that for a long time.
.org.
Seems Murphy doesn't want to
Changed a lot. It used to be like here, and now it's like a bit harder to find things. But you got a big giant button here. Install on the CentOS. Here it is. Do a yum. Make a file first. I use yum. The package names are still 10 gen. 10 gen.
Yes, on there. I haven't talked about it, some of the things have changed.
Don't do it Oracle. Because some parts of Java they changed from some microsystem to Oracle and then the code broke. A lot of codes broke. application. Registered trademark is a MongoDB printer.
How can I
Maybe my name?
Yeah.
Mark.
Because I have saw you develop some
Mongo.com. Yeah, a long time ago. I haven't finished, and I just did one weekend. That was one. I'm doing the level editor generator. So you do drag and drop and stuff.
Yeah.
That's what I started. I think I was using MongoDB to store all the everything, but that's because I was getting paid. The company, like, 20% time is just do whatever, research and have fun.
But it's still your fun.
Yeah. So, but I haven't touched it for maybe 2 years or so, a long time. One day, when I get money, my own money, then I go back and finish my toys. But I think getting HTML5 gaming, I think it's a big comes. Especially now we have the WebGL as well. It's getting, you could do the 3D, Unreal Tournament and stuff like that. It's good now. Content.
Is it? Maybe can be. I don't know. We just come to my mind because I saw this project and I feel that. Is it another world can explore? Like maybe can the map is built by user himself.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to do. Yeah, open map so everyone can create game easy. And I wanted to do persistence as well. So like if you chop down a tree and someone else sees the tree is chopped down already, like this. That was my plan.
Yeah.
Just ran out of time. No time. Really? 我要写 email account 我 base Okay, is the server 64-bit or is it 64-bit?
Is it your company?
Yeah, it's my company server. Single core only, oh my gosh. No, it's actually we lease it from IP server 1.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, somebody restarted.
I am also using that. I am also using that one for my client.
Yeah. You also use IP server 1, right?
I use a minimum package.
Not expensive.
But as
I might consider using them because they're quite reliable so far. Okay, let me see if this is 64-bit. It's very hard to see whether it's 64-bit. 64-bit? Is it 64-bit? It should be 64-bit.
So in the meantime, does anyone know any good jokes?
Oh, okay. Are you in, Jamie?
Yes,
I'm not seeing you. Alright. Technology for the win.
Hey. Screen share.
Alright. Do you want to enlarge that? That's the next challenge.
to close the left
Right.
side too.
So that's not very clear, but anyway. First thing I'm going to do is start up a Mongo instance for our demo. Maybe. Is that a bit better? More? Look at that.
Yeah.
Alright.
Good.
So, for my demonstration here, I have this DB folder here. So if you have a look, this is my Mongo instance that I prepared earlier. So it's just a standalone Mongo instance for purposes of this demo. So here we go, Mongo D, DB path, /D. Get that started. Looks like it's good. Let's just check with Robo Mongo. Who here uses Robo Mongo? Alright. Looks like we've got data. I think I'm getting a bit of feedback here. Just Alright. And so I can see I've got an asset, I've got a lot of points of interest, and I've got a zone which we might get around to depending on how late people want to stay. Alright. There we go. Okay, I might just use Chrome for this demo because Firefox on onto it is really shoddy. No, it's okay. Working. Alright, so here we have a Google map. Danny, can you turn the microphone off yours because it's speaking better? Okay, so you can see I've loaded in all the points of interest. Now these aren't really bus stops because there'd be a lot more. These are actually service stations. But like I said, I lost my presentation, so I also lost the icon and I couldn't be bothered finding it again. So here we have bus stations and a bus.
Look up. That's specific to show the window.
Yeah.
You could do that whole screen as well. It's different up.
Okay, and then
There we go.
we lost it again.
Show the desktop.
Show the desktop.
Yeah.
It's not changing, it's frozen. There we go. Okay.
Oh.
Alright, so as I was saying, there are many bus stops and there's a bus. Okay, so I don't have a live moving demo for this, but what we're going to do is just sort of simulate what some responses from the server might be. So here we have a point of interest, which is considered considered as an asset, and this one changes. There's something feedback. Is your microphone on? Okay. There. That's better. Okay, so whenever I click, what actually happens is it records in the server the location of this asset. And if I reload, it actually remembers where it is. Okay? And if we look in Mongo here and have a look at our asset, this is our asset. This is the GeoJSON structure. So I've got a geometry object here with coordinates, and these keep getting updated. So just as a demo, put him over here. Right, so the coordinates did change slightly, actually a lot. Okay. I'm just going to bring it back into KL. The rest of my demos here. Okay, so this circle is a 3-kilometer radius around our asset. So now what we're going to do is demonstrate the feature I mentioned earlier, where you can see how many points of interest are nearby. Okay, and I'll show you a bit of code. We'll spend a bit of time on this. So as a demonstration, you see in the console here, is that too small for people? I can't really make it much bigger, unfortunately. That's Chrome. Essentially what's happening is every time we click, it updates a number here to say how many bus stops are nearby, or how many bus stops are within our 3-kilometer radius. So here's 9, 11, 7, 0. There's nothing out in the mountains, or 6. Okay.
The control plus.
What's it like to?
A control plus.
Yeah, no, it doesn't work. It just zooms.
No, but in the
Damning would have to hold plus on this stuff. Yeah, I think that's what you're getting at, right?
what? This should make it bigger, the text.
Well, the text won't get bigger. What I could do is show you the output in Sublime. Alright, so that's what was happening.
It's already 10 o'clock.
Too much. Okay, so very quickly it would calculate what's actually nearby. Okay, so let's have a look at what's happening there. That's a bit much. Okay. This is okay. So are there any PHP developers in the room?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so because this demo is in JavaScript and PHP. So essentially what we're doing here is we're calling the action handler, and it's saying this case, get all the nearby points. So we're passing in a latitude and longitude to this get num near function, which is part of our service class. Alright, so here you can see it's coming in. Now what we do is we say we want to use the points of interest collection, and then based on that we do a find. Like I mentioned earlier, my geometry index in my 2D sphere index is geojson.geometry. And to show you that, you can see all these objects here have this same format. But you don't have to use that. You can use whatever object you want. And I should mention that you can also have multiple indexes. So if you have a really complex object with multiple GeoJSON points in it for whatever reason, then you could potentially index on multiple locations as a compound index. Alright. So here we use the near function, and that starts up the that radius-based search through the 2D sphere. It needs a geometry object. Now, one trick you can do is if you have points in the database that you want to query on, you can actually pull them out directly and just insert it here, the result, and then you can query directly on that. But for this purpose, we've only been given a latitude and longitude, so we need to construct this GeoJSON object. Okay, so this is considered a geometry feature. So we use this to indicate this is the feature. It's the point that it's looking for. You can only query on points, or else you get an error. I had that earlier tonight. And absolutely make sure that they come through as floats, because these are going to come through as strings by default from the browser, and you need to typecast those. Don't use integer, you get the wrong results. Okay, because it will cut off your floating points. So this tells it that it needs to search at the center of these coordinates. Here is the max distance parameter, which simply says how many meters it's searching from the center. So it's a really simple query, and all we're doing is getting this is actually a Mongo cursor object, and we just get a result count. Okay, that's all we're doing. So you notice that with PHP, I don't know how many of you are familiar with the Mongo driver in PHP, but due to the fact that it returns a cursor, it behaves the exact same way as it does in the Mongo console with JavaScript. So you can chain everything together the same way you do. It doesn't perform the search until you start moving the cursor. That obviously is not entirely true if you use find1, which you'll see when I'm collecting the asset's position when the page loads, I use find1, because I know there's only one asset in there for this demo. That's all I want. But if we had multiple, we obviously wouldn't do that. So you get a result back straight away. Okay, so when this returns, it just returns that result number, and where is that? Here. To get me, all I'm doing is putting a console.info. But what you could do in your own application as a use case, you could have a nice info window, which I actually had in my original demo. I had an info window here, which would update where the driver was, where the bus was in this case, and how many bus stops are nearby. And you could obviously make that as dynamic as you want, but you can expandable, so when you click one of these points of objects, it would then create a directional route to that point. Yeah, all sorts of things you could do with that. Right, so the other part of this demo I wanted to do as a live coding exercise. Just wondering how many of you are up for that. Essentially, I was going to do the geo within query and give you a live demo of how you would put that together. Yes, everyone okay to stay for a bit longer?
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes.
Okay, so the first thing we want to do, I prepared a zone polygon earlier, so let's have a look at that in Mongo. That's actually Damien's version as well. Okay, so this zone, it's a polygon. Okay, there's a few differences with this one. You see it has a lot of coordinates. Okay, so let's just expand all this out. Can I do that? Yeah, there we go. see it has a lot of coordinates. It is just a standard polygon, it doesn't have any holes. If it had holes, then this point here, there'd be another set of coordinates, which makes the holes. And if it was a multi-polygon, you'd have that up one level, and it would be kind of recursive like this, like 1, 2, 3 as groups. That gets a little bit complicated. Okay, so the other thing is, and this is what I really like about GeoJSON, is the consistency. Because obviously with Mongo, you can put stuff anywhere in your objects, so it can get messy. But because GeoJSON is a specification, you kind of have your hand forced to put all metadata in the properties, which is good because you always know where to find it. There's no question as to where metadata is or isn't. And you can put whatever you want in here and it doesn't conflict with the indexes or whatever. You can even index on this. For GeoMatch, we actually have all of our geo objects as tags. And so we index the tags and we do queries based on the tags, so we can group different polygons or points together. And all those tags live in properties. So it's just an example of the kind of dynamics you can do with it. Alright, so here I've got I think we have a function for that. Get no drive polygon. So we select zone collection and do find one. For this example, we know there's one polygon there, so we use that. Now we want to actually load that in the JavaScript. Okay, so let's do it here. I've already got a function. I think I just started while I was waiting. Okay, so we're going to load this polygon from the server. Okay. So this is calling the get no drive zone polygon action. And when it comes back, we're going to want to fill it out and display it. Actually, I just copied that from my box, so this doesn't really count. Rearrange this a little bit. Okay, now for the purposes, this is my typical way that I code these sort of things. I write part of it, but I just make sure I test along the way that every little bit works. So what we do here is we just make sure that we're getting a response, have a look at how it looks, make sure that it's what we expect, and then try and render a polygon with that. We've already got this one in place. Let's call in that function.
Is the screen up there?
It's not updated.
Okay. It's almost a full system. Okay, let me go back. Then yep, okay, it seems to be working now. Okay, so when I load the page, it's executing that function. So we can see down here, Or maybe you can't see down there. Just try and switch to Firefox. That shortcut does not want to work. Screen's frozen, I'm not even there.